Shut up and sit down. And sit down.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 360 Sports Show. I am Andrew Pizzelli. He is Christian Lauber, and we're coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitter. You can find us there, and you can also find us as a podcast on Sounder FM or wherever you get your podcasts from. If you want to jump into the comment sections of any of the live streams, you can join us in the discussion here tonight. We have a lot to get through. All four leagues in action. We've got NBA, NHL, NFL, and baseball. The World Series is coming to us. Not to us, but to the fans. And that is where we're going to start today. We're going to start baseball. Like I said, if anytime you want to jump in to the discussion or shift the discussion somewhere, do so in the comment section. And if you're one of our podcast listeners, feel free. Drop us a line, the360sportshow@gmail.com, and we will get to those thoughts, comments, questions, and concerns in our mailbag segment. So, Christian, starting with baseball, what is the thing now? What a difference a week makes. We both predicted last week. We were feeling good, feeling right. Hey, Red Sox, they're gonna be playing. World Series will be in. Knowing what we know now, the World Series would be beginning in Boston because of the record of the Atlanta Braves. What a difference a week makes. A lot to pick through, but a week now has changed a lot. What sticks out to you the most over how things went down? The Houston Astros coming back to beat the Red Sox.
Honestly, I think the biggest story is how oddly this series swapped and how fast it swapped. The Red Sox have a 2-1 lead. They look like they can hit anything coming at them. And then all of a sudden, the bats fall off. And a couple umpire mistakes, missed pitches, and you get blown out in game 4, I believe it was. And then all of a sudden, now you're in the mindset of, okay, we have one more game in Boston, then we got to go back to Houston. That's a guarantee. And then you lose 2 more. I mean, they just went cold. In literally a blink of an eye, they went cold. I don't know what happened. The Astros obviously are a decent team. They have a good lineup. Their pitching somehow came out of nowhere and just shut the Red Sox down after Laz Diaz kind of effed up there. Most of that game, he kind of just screwed up. It was not a watchable product. But, I mean, that's the story for me. I don't think the Astros did anything crazy. They just stayed within themselves and do what they do. If you give them enough time, they're going to hit you eventually. And the Red Sox just went. I've never seen a team go so cold so fast.
Yeah, that's the reason. Right? It's the fact that the bats went cold. I'm sorry. Nobody's winning baseball games anymore 1-0, 2-1, especially against a team like the Astros. Even if you were going to get, good starting pitching and manage your bullpen the way Cora likes to do using starters in spots, you're going to need to score 6, 7 runs, maybe. That's what it takes to beat a team like that.
Yeah, 5 to 7.
So you needed your bats, and they just died. I mean, after Game 3, the bats were non-existent, and I mean, Game 4 again was like kind of there for you. I mean, you'll never know what will happen. But the bigger story, I think, is kind of that the Red Sox aren't who we thought they were, or at least they aren't who I thought they were, which was that the pitching was going to choke and that they were just going to never be able to get any stops and that the defense would be the reason why they lost games. It really wasn't. it was some of the reason why maybe those games got away and got out of hand in the end, but it was the bats. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered. You were going to need more than 2 runs to win Game 4. And then from there on out, it was just non-competitive. And that's what was most surprising. The bats going that cold, which has nothing to do with stealing signs. I know a lot of people, the White Sox went and did it. The Red Sox, Cora kind of accused them of doing something about making adjustments, or, hey, with runners in scoring position, they're just really hitting the ball. Like, he kind of has made some veiled, nothing direct.
Yeah, you really can't. I mean,
you really can't. The Red Sox, I mean, because that opens up the can of worms of, if you accuse them, they accuse you, and what are we doing, right? So that has nothing to do with the stealing. Sign stealing has nothing to do with the bats' struggles. Do you put any credence into the idea? And this is not me making excuses. This is just answering the questions that people are putting out there. I think the Sox just lost. I think they just were not lucky, but they were up 2-1 on a team that was the better team. The better team won. But there's people also saying that, hey, look at the spin rates. The Twitter sleuths, look at the spin rates. Look at the velocity on a guy like Garcia. He's rubbing his forehead like the whole game. And then rocking the baby to sleep before he throws. Any credence into any of that? Do you think obviously it's possible, but do you think any of that made a difference and is the reason the Sox lost in such a dramatic turnaround in that series, that the Astros decided, you know what? If we're going down, we're going out the Astro way, which is to gain an advantage.
Yeah, I think what Dusty Baker did after, what was it, Game 3? I think after that he said someone grabbed the goo, and the Astros went to town. No, I think, did the Astros get the benefit of the doubt with some of this stuff? No. They are who they are. It's the same as if it was the Patriots. Do they get the benefit of the doubt in stuff like this? No. Do the Red Sox even get the benefit of the doubt? No. So is it the reason they lost? No. I mean, look, you don't go that cold. It doesn't matter if your spin rate or velocity. Now, I will say Garcia was doing something. Based on, like, I don't know, you don't raise your speed by 3 miles per hour all of a sudden. Adrenaline will give you that for like an inning or two. But is that why they lost? No. I mean, they didn't hit, and also they gave up the runs when they shouldn't have. Now, I thought Evaldi was pretty decent in the final game there, but ultimately the Astros were the better team at the end. That's just what it is. They came out and took Game 1 and a come from behind victory. And then they kind of rolled you beyond that after. I mean, really, Evaldi came in there and kind of blew that lead, whether it was a strike or not. That one pitch changed the whole thing. But either way, the Red Sox got to win these games. They were up in that game and they lost it.
Yeah.
There's nothing, no funny business going on there. They just lost it.
How do you grade this season now? I mean, I had the perspective as that game was unfolding, and you just felt like, still 2-0. And I said, just keep it 2-0. Get to the ninth with the 2-0. And then in Game 6 in Houston. And having the perspective to say, you know what? Coming into this year, if you had told somebody, hey, the Sox are going to be 2 wins away from the World Series, and they'll be going toe-to-toe with the Houston Astros at the end of the year, nobody would have believed you. I mean, I certainly didn't. And even when you
wouldn't have.
And even when they got off to even when they got off to a great start, I still thought it was fool's gold. And I think it was almost going to be fool's gold until the Yankees game. I mean, that Yankees wild card game, I really think gave that team juice, because the second half of the year they played just pathetically. I mean, getting swept by the Orioles down the stretch. I mean, that wild card game, and then the following like 10 to 14 days, the aura around that team changed dramatically. Not just, hey, we're having a good year, and nobody expected it, but people, the real belief and the energy around the town and around the team totally changed. So in a way, though, getting as far as they did when maybe they shouldn't have, I think it changes next year. It might put more pressure on next year when it really shouldn't, because of a lot of other
I don't
factors.
necessarily agree with that. It
We'll
depends on what
get
the roster. It depends
we
on what
can,
happens with the roster.
we
I
can
mean,
get into the off-season, needs
Yeah.
and what they can and can't do. But I say it's a win for this year, obviously, given everything we saw and the construction of the team and expectations. It's a win. If it
the Astros are cheaters, though. That's why they won.
do you consider it a win of a year? Is how things went down? Is it good enough, or would you have wanted Game 6 to go differently to feel better about it?
No, I didn't need Game 6. I mean, look, the Astros are a good team. I know people want to say, like, I even just said it myself. I get, you get baited into this stuff, but they're a good team, regardless of whatever might be going on. Nobody knows if anything is, and even if it is, they're still a good team. They have a lot of good players on that team, especially their lineup. Their pitching can be shaky, but you're going toe to toe. I mean, look, they owned you this season. I mean, if you look at the regular season as well. So it's the playoffs. Nothing new happened in the playoffs. The Red Sox were hot, and then all of a sudden they went cold. That's what happens. It's sports. Ultimately, you can't just predict an outcome, and there you go. That's kind of what makes it fun. So it's definitely a win. Just based on look, I said they were going to be a playoff team. I said we were going to have a season. I didn't think they would go this. Kind of push the Astros a little bit early on in the season. I mean, you were in the driver's seat, 2-1 in Boston with 2 more games, and you kind of just lost it. But
outscored 23-3.
Yeah, not good.
That series.
Yeah, you can have all the cheat codes in the world. That makes no difference. It does not have that big of a difference. So look, I mean, they lost to a better team ultimately, and the Astros. Whether you like their pitching staff or not, that can be questioned. But their lineup is legit 1-7, so definitely a win. You kind of push them to 6 games. I mean, that's a pretty good season after you and a lot of other people said this team sucks.
Yeah, well, I didn't even think they'd be worth a watch this year. I thought it would be something similar to last year, and even when they got off to the great start, I didn't believe the hype, and then they just started to pull all these miracle games. They had that thing, and then the second half of the year hit, and that was a disaster.
Yeah.
A friend of mine texted me this at the end of the game, that he said, consistently inconsistent, the 2021 Boston Red Sox. That's really it.
Sure.
I mean, you look at any point, you could zoom in and say, all right, let's zoom all the way into this one game. And you would see 3-4 great innings of a pitcher and then completely blowing up. Or, hey, the bats are great at the beginning of the game, can't get a clutch hit at the end. Or, vice versa. All of these things. You could zoom out and say, look, in this 5-week stretch, they mashed the ball, and then for the next 5 weeks couldn't hit anything. Even if the ball, it was a 50-mile-an-hour fastball, they couldn't hit it. So at any point this year, it's like at the end, the things that were their flaws cost them, and those are the things that will need to be addressed going forward. Christian, what are the most pressing needs for the Red Sox, and can they actually address those so that not only do they get back to this spot, but if the pressure and expectations are higher now, you almost have to supersede where you got to. It's not going to be good enough to just get back to Game 6. People are going to want a World Series, at least an appearance, or a Game 7.
Let's not go too far.
You don't think? You don't think
No.
the pressure's going to be on?
It depends what happens in the offseason. Like if Schwarber and JD Martinez are gone, then no. I mean, that changes the whole lineup. So if you think those 2 guys are coming back, and if they do come back, then you can make an argument, especially considering I don't think they're that far away. They need a couple pieces, especially in, I would say, the bullpen. I mean, maybe you have some with Tanner Houck, but you don't know. And also, he's kind of a starter if he can develop more than 2 pitches. And you go from there. But ultimately, it depends on the offseason. I mean, if you're telling me JD Martinez isn't on this team, Schwarber's gone, that clears out half the middle of the lineup that was producing for you.
That's a huge disappointment, though, if that's the route that they go, right? I mean,
Um,
or do you or are you now saying that this is fool's gold and they shouldn't look at it like, hey, we were this close to a World Series, we just have to add a few things and we get back. They should. It's still a rebuild, and maybe they take a step back next year to continue building.
no, I mean, look,
Which I think I can't imagine them doing, because I think the fans, for once, I think, hey, the Red Sox kind of right now, with the Patriots might not win a Super Bowl anytime soon. The Celtics and Bruins, it's kind of, they've been flirting with it but haven't actually been able to get there yet. The Red Sox have a chance here, if they can be exciting like this, to take the town again. And you might look at this year and say, man, not worth really. We're not actually that close.
well, I think JD Martinez is an opt-out, so that's not really in their control. And it depends on the money with Schwarber. I don't even know if he has term left, but he's an older guy, and I'm not going way overboard and paying him just because you're like, you were pretty close to a World Series. But they have to at least try. Sure, if JD Martinez is back, then absolutely you go, okay, Schwarber, figure something out there, and then help your bullpen. I mean, you have some young guys, Ottavino, Whitlock. How many of those guys do you want / trust in there? I don't know. But their rotation does not look terrible. I mean, if you look at it now, it's Evaldi, Sale, right? There's 1-2. That's pretty decent. And Erod, I don't know if he has term either. I think he might be up. So they have some decisions to make. Yeah, they have some key decisions to make. And I want to say Devers and Bogarts are both coming up here within the next year. So is Chaim Bloom going to spend money and do the opposite of what he's done his whole entire baseball life? I don't know. So that's where the question mark comes in.
Yeah, and I just think it's an interesting spot. What they accomplished is ahead of schedule. I think most people expected, hey, they could have still been sellers at the deadline, and we're just still retooling this, and you have a win season, and maybe you wild card, maybe you don't, but you just kind of accept, hey, we're closer to the middle than ready to be at the top, and then you go on that run because of your bats, and I'd say clutch pitching pretty much until the middle part of the ALCS. I mean, they got crazy performance for a period of time. Colin in the comment section, Astros reworked their clears throat training methods, and the Sox forgot how to hit. And Nick says that Whitlock is the only reliever I trust.
He's one of them for sure.
Yeah. Definitely they have. I mean, hey, their issues, if they to get back, like you said, you have to maintain the depth of that hitting lineup somehow, without committing to say keep a guy like Schwarber, AD, because of their age. In an injury history here, I think Schwarber definitely wasn't 100%. I don't know if anything's been reported on that at the end.
Not sure.
But he definitely didn't look right. And guess what? If he is back, he better be in the outfield. You know who can go? Hunter Renfroe.
Yeah,
can go.
My thought will be he will not be back, but
sell high on that. I think there's teams that might, they might just kind of forgive a couple of postseason hitting, slumps, and like what he did this whole year. Sell on that. And that's the biggest thing. Having a team that fits better, the pieces fit better. The defense needs to be better. And I think if you have better pieces that fit, if you have guys actually playing the field in positions that they're used to playing, I think that'll help. And then obviously the pitching just has to be better at all spots. I mean, you need better starters, openers, and better relievers. And that will be the difference between you not giving up runs in the seventh inning and having games in the postseason. Like you said, Christian, part of this is spending money. Are they going to want to spend money this offseason? Well, there's a looming CBA negotiation for Major League Baseball. And already the whispers are kind of that it could get ugly. And it could get drawn out. There could be a stoppage.
Shocker.
And who knows what the owners are going to want to be fighting for. and vice versa, what the players are going to be wanting to fight for. There's many things. I'm sure there's pace of play stuff. Hey, how do we speed the game up? How do we make the game more interesting? How do we keep the games from being 4.5 hours long? What can we do? The robot strike zone, I think that could be something that's also in play. Your thoughts on any of those things that could be in the docket here that could hold up negotiations? And if a work stoppage does happen, I don't think you see the Red Sox spend money. I don't think you see them spend a dime if there's actually a stoppage and they only play like half a season. They won't spend the money for half a season. No shot.
I'm not even sure they're going to spend the money for the whole season if it does get figured out. Just in terms of the CBA, I have no idea what's going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some type of lockout. Look, there's been ideas in the works for years now to change the way the game is played and make it faster and speed up pace of play and all this, but ultimately the players don't want to do that. Why, I don't know. But they don't want to do it. They don't want to have the pitch clock, and they don't want to have, everything else, even though in other sports, that's the norm. And unfortunately, someone who invented baseball didn't add that at the beginning, or we didn't get it early enough. In terms of the Red Sox, though, I have my doubts that Chaim Bloom wants to or will spend money. Like, he has not spent any money in this. I mean, not that he's had it, but the Rays are built on all of these drafts and less payroll, but they still perform and they get to the playoffs and that's it. They fizzle. I think that's probably where you're headed. I mean, just based on track record, we'll see. But yeah, I'm not convinced they spend money for half a season. Never mind even a full season. I have no idea.
Yeah. I know you put in your little bullets here for baseball. Laz Diaz, awful. The words of Tommy Heinsohn, that is terrible. Human error is a part of the game. This is bad.
How about human errors times 20?
You can't be that bad. And the thing is, it wasn't even bad consistently. You looked at the chart and it's okay, here's a ball that was 5 inches off the plate, called a strike. Then there's a ball that's only 2 inches off, and it's a ball. And then there's a strike inside of that, and then another ball outside of that. And it's not even hey, if you just look at it, he just had an expanded zone. No, it was inconsistent all over the place. And the ones that were the most egregious ones were the ones that were closest to being strikes. It's not hey, he was outside and he just didn't get that call. It is what it is. You're throwing actual literal strikes.
Oh, yeah. No, he was consistently bad throughout the whole entire game. And I don't even know what's worse, him making those calls or MLB putting him in that spot in the playoffs. I just don't understand how that happens. Yeah. Who decides this guy is going to get into a game?
Is he going to
the track record
games?
Is there.
Is he
the track record is there,
Is he scheduled to ump a World Series game?
I don't know, but I hope not. If he's in there, I'm immediately turning it off.
I don't know. It's worth it to watch just to see somebody else suffer the train wreck.
Yeah, fair.
But I hate seeing things like that because in the playoffs, the moments are bigger and the margin is slim, and a missed strike call like that is the difference between maybe the Sox winning and going up 3-1 in a tie game. Obviously, they had their own other issues leading up to that, where they could have been up by more, and but it all adds up. It's a big difference between having to make more pitches and hey, inning's over. Inning is over, and it's 2-2. That doesn't guarantee you win the game, but at least that threat is done. And I just think when you have moments like that are that bad and that egregious, it brings the rallying cry closer to robot refs, which I don't want. One, I think in the end it could be, who wants to have something that's digital and electronic that could be tampered with and screwed with. I'd rather have a person back there, a competent person back there. They're gonna have a person back there anyways to retrieve the ball and make judgment calls at the plate. So just have that guy call balls and strikes. I don't want to have the robotic strike zone. Who's gonna tell? Is that guy gonna be mic'd up? It was a strike. Ha! Like how is that? How is any of that going to work? So, logistics aside, I don't want it. But when things like this happen, it makes people throw their hands up and say, you know what? Give me robots. Give me Wally back there to make the calls. I hate it.
Yeah, ultimately, I mean, look, that's not a good look for umpires or refs to begin with. I mean, they just want to involve themselves in the game sometimes, I guess. I'm not sure exactly why. But Laz Diaz definitely did that. And it just hurts the product. I mean, it just hurts the game overall.
Nick in the comment section says Hunter Renfroe is on 2 years. He'll be back. I think that's a great reason to trade him. I know you've got a controllable asset. So I think you sell high. A team will like the fact that he has 2 years, has some term.
How high are you selling here? Are you going to get like a pair of wooden bats or just one maybe?
A bullpen prospect, something that's honestly, I mean, a controllable bullpen arm. They need something in there. I think you saw the best of Renfroe, and you also saw the worst of Renfroe. I don't necessarily think he's gonna be any better.
Unfortunately, the best was in the regular season, and the worst was all throughout the playoffs. So yeah, not ideal.
Yeah. Who are you rooting for in the World Series, Christian?
Braves.
Do you think they have a shot?
Yeah, I give them a shot. Sure. They're a pretty good team. I mean, they got good pitching. They've had good pitching in the playoffs, and I like Freddie Freeman. I think he's a fun guy to watch. But usually I'm for anybody but the Astros. So it's Astros, Yankees, all those teams. No, I'm going the other way. If it was the Dodgers, we might have a different story. I still might root for the Dodgers just based on what happened back in, 2017, 2018?
Yeah.
But
revenge.
Yeah. But Braves all the way. Yeah. Braves bandwagon.
Yeah. I'm going to be rooting for the Braves. I don't know if they'll have a shot, a legit shot, but we'll know. I mean, we'll get a good sense of it. Game 1 tomorrow, 8:09 start. I don't. How does MLB come up with these times? It was 8:08 for the ALCS. Is this like a time? Hey, it's been a week, so the Earth's time zone has shifted by 1 minute. Game 2 is Wednesday. Game 3 Friday. Game 4. Series could either be interesting or over. Actually, Game 5 is on Sunday. So yeah, that's the question, Christian. Will the World Series still be happening by the time we take to the air next?
I don't want to answer this anymore.
You don't want to answer this?
We ruined this last time. I'm going to say no, it's going to be over.
Yeah, I think it's going to be over too. Root for the Braves, but I think it could be over. It'll be interesting if it's not, and that'll be great. I mean, what I always root for, realistically, is just give me 7 games. Love Game 7 when I don't actually have a team to root for in a series, whether it's in the NHL or basketball or baseball. Just extend the season. Just give me 7 more good games. I'm down for that. And it at least gives us more to talk about, because usually in those moments, crazy things happen and exciting things happen, and that's good for business.
You're not ready to move on to this Celtics team, are you?
Well, let's touch on that, because we are trying to get. He's a busy man. We want to get Matt Murphy on the show to talk about early NBA things.
Oh boy!
Because I think there's a lot of interesting. There's some storylines already developing, and we'll see if they actually pay out with a lot of other teams, not just the Celtics, that I'd want to get his take on. But yes, the Celtics 1-2 playing right now, currently, I think, while we're on the air.
Yeah, they
are. And they are winning. Oh my gosh! # no defense. 68-66 at the half with the Hornets. Ooh. Wow.
The Celtics are not playing defense? I'm surprised about that.
33 points each in the first quarter, 35-33 Celtics in the second. Yikes. Now I know tonight, no Horford. Jalen's back, no Horford tonight. I don't know if that's an injury or if that's just
It is an injury, yes.
But is this like a planned day off because of the injury, or something new, so now he's not playing?
If I'm not mistaken, it's something new.
Oy. So,
Cautious with Al.
okay.
Abductor strain.
Abductor. Okay. So anyway, they're 1-2. We'll keep our eye on this game as it rolls along. See if we can get a sense of where it's trending. Right now, a high-scoring affair, 68-66. There are games I remember growing up where that was like the score in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Yeah, now it's just like 150 to 140.
I remember the Celtics beat the Cavs. I think it was game 5 in Boston in 2008, 76-70.
Well, you're not allowed to play defense much anymore in this NBA.
Well, guys, also it's the 3-point shooting. I mean, look at guys in the Celtics beat I almost said the Astros, the Rockets, last night, and guys. I mean, these guys coming out of the draft. Look at Jalen Green, hitting threes all over the place, and it's not like he wasn't being guarded.
Can he teach Aaron Nesmith how to shoot?
But yeah, so Christian, what is your early take here on the Boston Celtics before we dive into some of the other NBA storylines?
I think they kind of suck. I'll be honest. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's kind of the same old story with this team, though. I'll be honest. I have not seen anything really new, from the coach, I guess, or whatever scheme he's trying to. I don't know. It just looks like the same old Celtics to me. They got blown out by Toronto. You have no business losing that game. It's just like the night-to-night effort thing. It just hasn't changed, and it's because of the locker room. It's unfortunately, it's not just replace Brad Stevens. All our problems are fixed. It's you have to actually play from night to night if you're the players, and I just don't know. Maybe this group just doesn't want to do it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not ready to really make any judgments yet because I think 3 games is just it's too small of a sample size.
Well, sure, yeah.
But I mean,
you said the Red Sox weren't going to make the playoffs at this point, so what the hell?
After 3, was it 3 games? I think they started. What did they start?
I think it was 6-4, 7-3.
Yeah, it was around then where I made.
Yeah, Celtics are 1-2. You don't want to say they're going to win the championship?
I will not say that at any point this year unless they're actually in the championship.
All right, just checking.
They're not there.
We got to get the meter somewhere. I don't know.
No, I mean, I think in terms of seeing something different, I do think I get a sense of more sharing of the ball. That's something that Udoka said he wanted to stress. I see some changes in the way they run their offense. You're right about the defensive stuff, though. I want the intensity from the start of the game. I don't know if that's just a lack of some cohesion with the lineups. You're trying to get some matchups out there, and you got a guy like Al, who I think can be of value to you defensively. In one night, not out the next, and how do you get into any sort of rhythm? I think they're trying to figure out who their best guys are in which spots. I mean, they have a lot of guys who I think they're trying to give minutes to here early on, and I mean, obviously you have Jalen and Jason. That's the top. That's the cream. Where does everybody else kind of fit into the pecking order? It's crazy is that a guy like Grant Williams has probably been your 3rd best player here in the early going because Jalen and Jason have still performed. I mean, Jason had a rough night against the Knicks. But
boy, did he.
Yeah.
You know who's been the worst player on this team? One of your favorite players, Mr. Aaron Nesmith. Has he made a shot yet?
Let's see. Tonight.
He's going to get his ass benched tonight, probably.
Tonight, no minutes yet.
Yeah, well, that's shocking.
My man,
Nice
Jabari
pick,
Parker.
Danny.
Yes, 13 points for Jabari Parker. I was so upset that they cut him, and I was like, please be just like a salary cap maneuver. And then they brought him back. Because I love Jabari Parker. I know he's a shell of himself, and he's not like who he was when he was drafted at all. But he was one of those guys that you just kind of hear about, and you see some of their high school games, you're like, this guy. And you just pick a player. A lot of people picked Luka Doncic years ago. This is the guy. This is the guy the Celtics should be focused on. And so obviously it's not the same Jabari Parker, but excited to see him in green still. Hopefully get a whole year out of him. And valuable minutes right now. I mean, 13 points, 4 rebounds in 9 minutes.
And he's +8. You always got to check the plus minus with Jabari because he can score 24 points, but he could also be a -27 at the same time. So
yeah.
He's another guy that doesn't play defense.
Colin in the comment section. Marcus Smart, 0-4 from the three-point line. Complete shell of himself defensively, steadily declining for the last couple of years into this year.
You know what we do with that, Colin? You know what we do with a guy like that, though, who's steadily declining, can't shoot threes? We give him a 4-year contract.
Well, I mean, again, I don't know how it would have worked. They offered him the contract. He said no. Then he came back and said, wait, never mind. Can I take this? Because he saw what happened to Schroeder. He literally saw what happened to Dennis Schroeder. And I think they were probably in a position where, well, we wanted to offer him this contract. So I still think there's a distinct possibility there's guys on this team who aren't here in a month.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Month and a half. I mean, obviously the deadline's in February, but there's moves that could be made early here. And I at least think Brad Stevens is willing to make those moves, is willing to pull the trigger and say, you know what? I'm going to shake it up. I'm trading Marcus Smart to get whatever piece it is or assets, and this is maybe what this team needs. He's willing. He has shown already in his early stint here as a GM, he's willing to play the game, which is to make fair trades. You're not going to slaughter somebody. You're not going to win every single trade. Sometimes a trade is just that. It's a trade. I give you something, you give me something, and it's even. So he's willing to work with guys. He's also willing to be creative with a lot of the salary stuff. People wondered how's he going to handle that stuff. Now I know it takes a village. So you got Zarin and all these Austin Ainge, all these other guys working with him. But at the end of the day, he's the decision maker, and so he's willing to make all these sorts of creative moves. Willing to play the game. So if there's trades out there, a lot of the fan stuff, we speculate, hey, this 3-team trade, you could do this, that. I think Brad is willing to play. I think he's willing to get involved in that sort of stuff. So I wouldn't be shocked if Marcus is actually really struggling, or it's just not a good fit, and they just decide they're not happy with him. They already had to suspend him.
He's got more shots tonight, but
he's going to be gone.
It feels like he's taking less shots this year so far. Which I think is by design. It should be by design because really everybody around him is a better shooter. I would rather have Schroeder shooting. I would rather have Josh Richardson shooting. Obviously, Tatum and Brown. Even Horford, I think, is better, more reliable.
Yeah, but the flip side of that is that you want him shooting less and playing defense better. And, I mean, again, it's 3 games. But he really wasn't the same Marcus Smart at the end of last year.
To be fair, 3 games is enough to write off a season. We learned that right here on this show.
I'm just saying. But there's people upset about him. I think the team's not going to put up with it. If he's actually a liability or a problem on the court, off the court, he will get traded. That contract is not like something they're just saddled with and them. I mean, we see bigger contracts, more years get traded for less. So that's what I think. I mean, I expect them to win some games here. I want to see the defensive intensity pick up. I'm not willing to comment yet on anything about Udoka, whether or not he is a fit or not. Winning cures all that. So if they're not winning, those questions are going to persist and get louder. Let's see if they can string together some.
To me, I see a
wins.
middle of the road team. That's what I see. I see you're probably in the 6th spot, maybe 5, 6 in the East. Now it's way early, so we'll see what happens, how things shake out. It's going to take maybe 15, 20 games for them to be. I think they'll be a little bit better than last year, but I don't think they're going to take any huge leap and, be in the title conversation.
Yeah. Who is for you right now? I mean, because obviously, like you said, very early on, but there's already, a lot of the teams, like in the Western Conference, there's guys, there's injury problems. The Lakers, who everybody thought would be the title favorite, go figure. It's tough to fit Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis all on one court together alongside the 2012 All-Star team and have it all actually function and work.
It's 3 games, though.
It is 3 games.
And by the way, they have the same record as you.
They do. I'm just saying that's a team everybody was looking at and saying like, oh, this will be a great. No, that I think a lot of these teams are gonna have up and down years. Honestly, last year, aside from one or two teams that really kind of were wire to wire, it was up and down for everybody. I mean, you had teams like the Jazz who were just basically consistent right from the get-go. But every team had their ups and downs. I really don't see a favorite. I mean, I don't know if the Nets will have enough to get there without Kyrie. Right now, I think the Bucks, because of Giannis, I think his since that finals and going into that finals, he turned that corner. We talked about that, about how he has to play. The Suns looked great, and then they're 1-2 now. I really don't know who in the West. If Klay Thompson comes back and is Klay Thompson of old, maybe the Warriors are scary dangerous again. I don't know, but right now I think the Bucks have got to be your favorites. They're the only team I look at with any sort of consistency and say, we know what they are, and what they are is pretty good, and they have the best player in the league.
Yeah, I would say obviously the Bucks are in the conversation. Maybe Golden State in the West. That's just because I think Curry is very, very good at basketball.
So we'll keep tabs on this Celtics.
Let's see what happens when we get past like game 20.
Yeah, the quarter poll. You want to see where it shakes out. Christian, before we delve into the football stuff and then picks, thank you for finding us here, by the way, on a Monday night. This is our new time, getting you ready for Monday night football and catching you up on the past week. I don't want to look at the New Orleans Pelicans. I want to look at the New Orleans Saints. That game getting underway in just a few minutes between the Saints and the Seahawks. I think we both last week picked New Orleans to win this game because we don't trust Geno Smith. We'll
expected.
We'll keep you updated on that as it goes along. But before we get into all the NFL stuff, I want to run through the hots and nots from the past week. And one of them for me is in NFL. We'll start with the hot, the good. The Tennessee Titans. I mean, coming into last week, we said, hey, big boy game. They win in not overtime, but win at the end. The Bills kind of give the game away in a way. But the Titans knock off the Bills, and then they go smoke the Chiefs, who, yes, they're struggling right now, but anytime you put a whooping like that on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, I mean, that team has talent, and they're struggling, and you put them even further into the hole.
Well, yeah, you knocked Patrick Mahomes out of the game. I mean,
so right now, hot, the Tennessee Titans.
You want me to go?
Yeah, give it to me. Derrick Henry for MVP, says Nick in the comment section.
I am also going to go football, but I'm going to go with the Mr. Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Another team that somehow is in, I think they might be right now the tops of the AFC with the Ravens, who they just kind of stomped a little bit. The Ravens were the hottest team in the league, and the Bengals went into Baltimore and kind of crushed them. And they look really, really good. And Jamar Chase, for all the gripe that he got early, he is a problem. He is nasty. I mean,
Rookie of the year?
Yeah. At least at this stage, right? I would say, yeah. He's at the top of the list.
He's going to have a chance. Yeah, I mean, the Bengals, we talked about the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of these big boy games for these teams like Cleveland and Cincinnati and the Chargers, Titans, Bills. Hey, if you're the big boys, these are games you got to show up for, and you got to compete and you win if you really want to put yourself in the conversation. Chargers have gone kind of up and down. They have a big win and a disappointing loss.
Yeah.
The Bills have a big win and a disappointing loss. The Bengals stringing it together. Same with the Titans kind of have had some big wins here in a row. And the Bengals, we said this is a big boy game for them. Now, I still don't think they've necessarily played the best teams. I mean, they lost to the Bears, who we saw what they were yesterday. So I don't think they're as good as their record right now indicates. Doesn't matter. Going into Baltimore and beating that Ravens team, the way they've been playing, Lamar has not just been, making his trick passes because we're loading the box and I'm just floating it to tight ends and man coverage, or I'm running all over the place. He's become a quarterback. I mean, he's really becoming a better passer and finding his spots and making himself even more of a problem. And you go in there and really kind of, the game, you were up, Ravens kind of get close, they take a lead, you feel like, okay, this game could just kind of go the other way. And then you run off, 30 unanswered points? 20-something unanswered points.
Pretty impressive. In
their
building.
Very, very impressive win for the Bengals. What is their schedule the rest of the way? So they are 5-2. Here's their schedule. They win in overtime against the Vikings on opening week. Follow that up with a loss to the Bears, 20-17. Then they beat the Steelers 24-10. They only beat the Jaguars by 3, 24-21. They lose that comically bad field goal kicking fest with the Packers, 25-22.
Yeah.
Nobody deserved to win that game. Then they beat the hapless Lions, 34-11. And now back-to-back wins, 41-17 over the Ravens. Next up for them, the Jets, the Browns, the Raiders, the Steelers, the Chargers, the Niners, the Broncos, the Ravens again, Chiefs, Browns. Their schedule is really easy, I think. They're playing well, and all these teams that when they're going to be seeing them, Chiefs by the end. What if Mahomes misses time? What if he actually gets hurt? What if they just suck? What if they've only won 6 games and they just decide to mail it in at the end? Same with the Browns. Those week 17 or I guess week 18 games now. Does that it's a divisional game, but what does it mean to either side? So really, aside from playing maybe the Raiders and the Ravens again, I think they're going to be favorites in all of these remaining games, and they could have a really great record. But I don't know. I mean, are they Super Bowl material? Do we look at them and say they're ready for that? I mean, they could legitimately go. They could have 13, 12, 13 wins. It could be a number 1 seed. But I don't think anybody's going to look at them yet and say Super Bowl just based off experience.
No, I mean, I think they're going to be in a conversation. They might make the playoffs, but we don't know yet. It's still early, and I still feel like they can go the other way in a hurry. It just you have a good win one week, and then the next week, this is the NFL. You lose 2 bad games, and there you go. You're out of it. So they're not there yet, but they're building towards something, and you have the quarterback. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, you got to win your next 2. So along with winning the big boy games, like the Patriots did yesterday, you have to mop up against the chumps. You playing the Jets next week, Bengals? Better put up 50 points in that game.
And here comes Flacco.
You better blow doors in that game. Then you're playing Browns. If Baker Mayfield isn't back yet, which I don't think he will be, you got to win that game too. Be 7-2 going into the Raiders game. That's how we'll know if this team is legit. Big boy win, give them credit. Not ready to say they're legit yet. Just based off of hey, you feel like you've arrived? You haven't. You got to keep going. We've seen that's happened to the Bills. That happened to the Chargers. Who the Patriots will see next week. So let's get into that a little bit. Not much on the bad side to say, Christian, about yesterday's Patriots game. I mean, maybe for you there will be. But
there's always stuff to say.
54-13, I think. I mean, listen, you can say, you shouldn't run up the score. People say it's disrespectful. I say, listen, this is professional football. It's a professional sport. You don't like it, go stop them. What's more disrespectful? Kicking a chip shot field goal to add 3 more points, or going for it on 4th down, right? Yeah, I think kicking field goals when you're up big is more disrespectful than going for it. However, you're up 38 points, and you put Brian Hoyer in the game with 4 minutes to go, and you're chucking bombs. They wanted to run the score. That was not an accident. That was not a, hey, this was just a bad game for the Jets and fluky plays and defensive scores and special teams. Nope. This was, we're on offense and we're going down and we're scoring touchdowns on 5 out of 5 red zone drives. And we're going to hang 50 points on you, and we want to. And if we had more time, we would have scored more. So that's what they needed. That was the win they needed, because just winning that game wouldn't have been enough. You needed to go out there and say, that's a bad team. We are not a bad team. We were saying this last week. Are the Patriots a bad team? Bad teams play bad teams.
They're a mediocre team.
And there's bad games. They went out there yesterday and at least showed us and others they are not a bad team. I don't know if they're a good team yet, but that's the kind of win you need to maybe kind of jumpstart a little things.
You don't know if they're a good team. I think it's pretty clear they're not a good team. They're a mediocre team. That's where their record says they are. They're 500, one game under 500, and they've beaten the Jets twice now. So, like, there's 2 of your wins.
But yesterday feels a whole lot better than either of your wins against the Texans. I mean, if that was say you won that game again, say it was like 26-20, and you're stalling in the red zone and kicking field goals, and you're down 10 points and have to rally, like, that doesn't feel good. Yesterday felt good. You feel a whole lot better yesterday. The quality of the win mattered more than the win itself.
I still think it's more about the Jets. I don't know. Like, the Jets are just so bad. Everybody beats up on them.
Nobody scored 50 on them, though.
Zach Wilson got hurt, and I just don't think they're a good football
Titans
team.
Lost to them.
I think, here's what I'll say about the 54 is I know they had turnovers, but I think the Patriots offense is leveling. They're going kind of staggered in the right direction. The defense, I don't think has gotten any better. I cannot take it from beating Mike Thomas or whatever the hell his name is. Thomas the Tank Engine. I don't even know his name. Nobody's ever heard of him. He hasn't played a single game until yesterday. So I don't know. And also the injuries are piling up on that side of the ball as well. Not that they were good before the injuries, but now Jonathan Jones is out for the year. And it's just going in the wrong direction for the defense. They're kind of there and they're going nowhere, really. I mean, it's just kind of level.
I think that the way it's trending, by the end of the year, we're going to look at this team in almost terms of like the 2011 Patriots, where it's the offense has to score 30 points and the defense just has to hang on and maybe force a turnover for you to win games. Like, the defense, I think, by the end of the year, with the way the injuries are going, and just the matchups, I mean, you're losing corner after corner. It's going to be tough to compete in today's league, where most teams have 3 really good wide receivers. So you're going to get picked on. The quarterbacks are good enough to pick on you. We'll see if Belichick, if they win some more games, get to 4-4, start maybe getting above 500, trade deadline is in a few weeks. Maybe Belichick says, you know what? I'll go out and get myself a corner. He's not afraid to do that. They did with Aqib Talib. It all depends on if, the team has to win some games to put them in a position to do that. Maybe not, depending upon if there's a player who's just like disgruntled, that's down, and it's like, hey, he's got 3 years on a deal and he wants out. Like, maybe we could get him. Colin in the comment section, it's amazing how much better a record-breaking spending and free agency team can be when you call good plays. And then Nick says everyone's favorite Madden character, Mike White, Jets QB1 for
Mike
for
White.
a while.
That's it. Yeah. No, it's Joe Flacco now. Joe Flacco's number 1. But
honestly, the play calling thing, aside from just not calling halfback tosses, these are the same play calls they've been calling all year. It's just they're executing. I mean,
how come they use so much trickery against this crappy Jets team?
Because they went into that game saying we want to blow them out.
Dumb.
We want to make them look bad. I mean, I can't be impressed with Robert Saleh's defense yet. I mean, they cut to him a number of times on the sideline, and he was probably a little hyped at the beginning of the game, and then by the end of the game, there was just that 1,000-yard stare.
Who the hell is on his defense? You stop the defensive line, and that's it. And C.J. Mosley was not even in the game yesterday. I'm not hyping Josh McDaniels up too much yet. I got to see it in multiple weeks. I thought he was decent yesterday, but the other thing is,
but that's what I'm saying.
I still think there's criticism there.
It's not the play calls. The play calls are the same calls. They're just executing plays. I mean,
for the most part, yeah.
2 weeks ago they call screen in the red zone, and it's like, what are you doing? Just run ahead or throw the ball. Today they throw a screen and it works. Guys actually get out there and block their assignments, or throw is on time.
Nobody has to block against the Jets. That's kind of the problem.
I guess. I mean, you could look at it that way. I mean, I think it can't swing both ways. If you hate Josh McDaniels' play calling, you can't now love yesterday. Yesterday was yesterday because the plays worked. Those are the same types of plays.
I don't know. I think yes and no. I think he called it a little bit differently. I think there was a couple differences in terms of they're not passing on. I don't know. You're not running the ball 3 times straight in to the defensive line. They did some different things.
But they've adjusted to that since.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to go too far with it, but I don't think. I thought yesterday it looked a little bit better, and not just because they were making plays, just because it was not noticeable that they're throwing 3 screen passes. And it's probably because it's the Jets. The Jets are not good, so they can do these things.
Yeah, you throw one and you score a touchdown. Can't call multiple plays when you just score a touchdown in 3 plays.
Yeah, but the only criticism I have is they got away from the run a little bit when it was still relatively close. I want to say the Patriots were in the 20s. The Jets had just scored or something. I mean, I literally think in the first half, Damian Harris was averaging maybe 7 to 9 yards a carry. I mean, he was just absolutely running everybody over.
Yep.
And they kind of got away from it and let Mac throw. And I
have no problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think Mac Jones was that good yesterday. He missed a lot of throws that are kind of like dink and dunk style throws that against a different team you just can't miss. So I guess it's fine. But and then on the other side, he has great throws. So, he's still a rookie, but I didn't think he was even that good yesterday, and he still put up 54 on the Jets. So,
yeah, I think we talk about Jamar Chase, rookie of the year. Right now, I think it could be between him and Mac. I mean, the tough thing for either is going to be putting up enough numbers consistently. For Jamar, you have to ball out like this for a whole year for a receiver to get it over any other player to get it over a quarterback. A quarterback's going to get to have the ball in his hands for every single game. I think I'm fine with them. I agree. Like, they could have just ran the ball and closed out that game and won 38-13. Instead, they wanted to keep chucking it, which, I'm fine with, because on a day like that, if you can really open it up and build more confidence and build more rapport, I'm fine with. I wish they could have. I mean, they tried. Can we get Jacoby Myers a touchdown? Please. He's thrown touchdowns. He just hasn't caught one.
Yeah, I would say Mac Jones can't win Rookie of the Year unless he gets Jacoby Myers a touchdown.
Yeah.
Touchdown reception.
Touchdown
Not throw.
reception.
We know he can throw. We know he's got highest completion percentage ever, but I want to see a reception in the end zone.
Yeah. I also just think the trick plays and all that stuff, I mean, I think they were trying to go for the blow. I also just think this is who the Patriots are going to have to be. I mean, next week against the Chargers, they have to play like a desperate team. We talked about this. They are not going to be the better team on the field, coming into the game. You're going to need to play aggressive. End of the first half this week. Minute 50 to go on the 22-yard line. We didn't just run the ball and hand off and say, hey, let's run a draw, and if we get something, maybe we'll go for it. No. Calling plays, aggressive, 11 plays, 70-something yards, and a touchdown. And you go up 31, 13 and a half, or 7, whatever it was. I think that's the mindset they have to have going forward. They showed it yesterday, willingness to go for it. They had that crazy bad double pass back to Mac, Brandon Bolden, which that's my one negative. Don't need any more of that. Brandon Bolden, no need to he not only was that an airmailed throw that if Mac doesn't catch, that's a live ball. It also is making your quarterback lay out for a ball, in which case he could get absolutely destroyed. Mm-hmm. And so you don't need to get that creative. That was my one nitpick. That play was a little over the top. But they called that, and then it was 4th and 1, and they went for it.
I thought Bolden had a nice day.
He did have a nice day.
But too much of Brandon Bolden. I would much rather see Ramondre Stevenson.
I don't know.
No, I'm
I
telling
I
you, I
I,
know.
it's the pass blocking stuff.
Because yeah, I'll show you a number of plays where Brandon Bolden has not pass blocked.
Do it. Pull them up right now. Let's go.
I mean, I'll get them for you next week. How about that? I don't have them right now.
Homework. So overall, I'm very happy with yesterday. And there's people saying like, "Oh, it's the Jets." You know what? This is who the Patriots are now. Like we said this. I don't think they're a bad team, but you are back in the pack. So you know what? When you have a day where you can blow out a team, I mean,
Yeah, they
at the
won
end
the
of the
Super Bowl
day,
against the Jets.
the
Yay.
end. I'm not saying it's the Super Bowl. I'm saying enjoy it.
You're way too excited about this. I'll be honest.
I'm saying this year, I think this team. I said 10-7. I mean, that's still a distinct possibility, which means you're gonna have ups and downs. So on any day against an NFL team, you win by 40 plus points in the NFL. I don't care who you're playing. That's impressive.
Beat a
And
good team and then talk to me.
we'll
You
see.
beat the Chargers. You got to beat the Chargers. Carolina's kind of fallen away. Those are two winnable games now.
Are the Chargers a good team?
Yeah, I think they are.
All right. Because we look at them because of that Chiefs win and say they're a good team. But what are your thoughts on the Kansas City Chiefs right now? I mean, they have the Patriots and the Chiefs have the same record. Nobody would have predicted that coming into the year, unless the Patriots we thought would have some incredible start. They got big time problems all over the place, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, their defense is probably bottom of the league in almost every category. It feels like they don't cover anything. They don't stop anybody. Everybody they're playing puts up almost 30 on them. I feel like so. Yeah, they got a lot of problems, and I'll tell you this. I mean, a lot of people want to put Mahomes in the problem category. I just strongly disagree. Mahomes still is probably one of 3, 4 best quarterbacks in the league. He's having some issues, of course, because of what's happening on that team as a whole. It's not a Patrick Mahomes story. I mean, look, he's still. I'll take Patrick Mahomes on my team any day of the week. He's gonna have some issues, and I think he might not even play next week. Who knows? After that it was a pretty nasty injury yesterday. He got
Kicked
kneed
in
the
the head.
Yeah. So who knows what happens? I don't think he's on my list all that much. I think the rest of their issues are very real though.
So next week they play the Giants, which I'll say, I know the Giants suck, but if Mahomes doesn't play, that's a losable game. That is a losable game because of your defense. I don't care that it's the Giants and that they just got their first win and that they were 5-3 with the Carolina Panthers for the longest time yesterday, looking like a baseball game. But even still, say they win that game, you're 4-4. Their schedule, I mean, Packers, Raiders, Cowboys. The Broncos are not an easy out. Raiders again, Chargers, the Steelers by the end, the Bengals late, and then they end the year with the Broncos. They could very much be in this 10-7 mix, and
Yeah, for sure.
that's why I think the Chiefs. How are the Chiefs' struggles related to the Patriots? Unfortunately, you didn't think a team like Kansas City would be stealing a wild card spot from you potentially. And that's the situation. I mean, they're going to be a wild card team. I don't think they're going to be able to. I guess the Raiders maybe the shine could wear off here and then they go on a bad streak. But now you're just starting to wish for stuff. I mean, let me see if I can pull up the Raiders schedule. Their next game, Giants in 2 weeks because they're on the bye. Giants, Chiefs, Bengals, Cowboys, Washington, Chiefs, Browns, Broncos, Colts, Chargers. I mean, that's a decently tough schedule as well. But you would have thought that Las Vegas would be 500 or worse. And now they may be a division winner. So a team like Kansas City is pushed into the wild card spot. And that's just one less spot if you're New England. And honestly, I can't see them. I don't think they're going anywhere this year. And they're headed towards the dreaded retool because Andy Reid is not going to coach for forever. Could this be his last year? I mean, the health issues this year. I don't know if he has what his contract situation is like in Kansas City. I'm sure they'd want him to coach for as long as he wanted to. But again, they're going to have to start making free agent decisions and Mahomes' contract. This is where these things start to get hard when you are probably the best player in the league, making the most money. And the rest of the team now, it's more of it's on you.
Well, if Tom Brady would ever quit, he might have people that want to come to his team. But until then,
True.
I don't know.
True. I don't know. I go back and forth on the Bucs. They look like a wagon. I still don't know if I trust the defense because the Bears are just also a mess. So them kind of punking them yesterday doesn't necessarily do much for me. But
with the Patriots beating the Jets is like this freaking, it's like Disney fireworks.
Perspective, right? If that was a win like that over, or if the Patriots beat the Bucs by that score, yes, I would be jumping up and down. I would be putting my head through the ceiling here, pulling a hamstring in the process. We've reassessed the perspective for this team. So, getting a blowout win, enjoy them because we don't know how many of them we're going to have this year. I think the rest of these games are all going to be very close games because it's teams that are in very similar straits to you. So that's all. You got to enjoy a win like that when you can. So, anyways, let's do the picks.
Dun, 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 dun. Let's do it. Let me pull up the sketch here.
Christian,
what are we in now?
You are week 8.
Week 8.
You are up 7 on me, 58-51. My math checks out there. We went 9-9 last week. The Saints game on tonight, but no blood there because we both picked New Orleans. So no matter what, it will be a wash.
Damn it, I want blood.
By the way, third quarter, 2:50 to go. Celtics up by 6, 92-86 on the Charlotte Hornets. Let's see how Daddy Hayward's doing. 13 points. Kind of a balanced effort here from.
Sounds about Gordon.
From 13 points, 2 assists, 5 rebounds in 25 minutes.
Still love the guy though.
I do. It's a miracle he's playing basketball.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, anyway, let's get into these picks.
All right, let's go. Green Bay at Arizona.
That's the Thursday night game. Wow. This is this the first big boy test for Arizona? I'm trying to remember.
It was until Devontae Adams went on the COVID list.
True. I'm trying to look. Oh no, they played the Rams. That was a big boy game. And the Browns. That's kind of like where the Browns started to really fall apart here was against the
Browns aren't looking like a big boy week anymore.
No. Hey, this is another. I mean, they're undefeated, so this is.
Yeah, I'm going Cardinals.
I was hoping for a good game, the Thursday night game, but no Adams. That's tough. Tough to pick against Arizona, man. It's a really impressive start for them. That team is.
Have they lost?
No, they're 7-0.
Are they going undefeated? That's the question.
Here, let's play that game very quickly. Here, I'll pull up their schedule the rest of the way. So, Packers Thursday, Niners, Panthers, Seahawks, Bears, Rams, Lions, Colts, Cowboys, Seahawks. They are not going undefeated.
There's a couple trip ups in there for sure.
You know who'll get them? It'll be like the Lions.
Colts.
No,
yeah.
it'll be like the Lions. It'll
no
be.
Way.
Yeah, no, it'll be that'll be the Lions Super Bowl. That's in Detroit. That's in Detroit.
Don't do drugs. Stay in school.
It's in Detroit. It'll be one of those like crazy wacky games.
Then I expect you to pick the Lions that week.
The Lions, that'll be their one win.
Fine. Do you agree to pick the Lions that week?
If I'll write this in a side note right now. All right.
There's got to be an if.
If Cardinals are undefeated, Lions will win. Mark tape. Mark the tape. Listeners.
You do this to
comment
yourself.
section. Remember.
Before it gets too ugly, let's move on. Carolina at Atlanta.
Carolina. I don't know.
God, what a sucky game that is.
I gotta pick Atlanta. I
Sam
think
Darnold benched again. Oof.
I gotta pick Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the same because
Don't like it, but
just quarterback situation there. I don't know. Some
what
team should have picked up Matt Ryan. I don't know why.
what
Why they
happened to
didn't.
him? I mean, Darnold. I'm talking about. I mean, because he was playing really well, and now it's just like,
Freaking seeing those ghosts again.
yeah, really.
Ghostbusters is coming out again soon, right? I
It's getting
mean,
close to
geez.
Halloween. Maybe that's what it is. The closer it gets to
Yeah,
Halloween,
that's true.
he
Yeah,
starts seeing boogeymen.
that boogeyman. Yeah.
All right, next.
Miami at Buffalo. I'm going Buffalo.
Yeah, have to go Buffalo. If they don't, if this similar to the Patriots this week saying you can't just win, you need to blow doors. Buffalo, you need to blow doors in this game. If you
Yeah, it
don't,
should not be close.
it should not be close. You know, if this is a close game, then we kind of have to reassess maybe where Buffalo's at. Coming off a loss, your bye week, and if you have a disappointing performance against Miami, even in a win, no bueno. So,
Agreed. San Fran at Chicago.
man, two teams. Ugh, God, this is gross. I have to pick the Niners only because I think they are the better team. They don't play like it, but I can't pick Chicago. I don't know. Not prepared to. I can't do it. But that's another game. That's a tough game.
Yeah, I'm going Niners as well. Bears have a bunch of COVID issues now, and they kind of suck. Pittsburgh at Cleveland.
Gross. So what's the timeline here from Mayfield?
I think he's out another week here.
So
I don't know if there's money. I don't know if there's anyone said anything, but
I think I'm gonna pick Pittsburgh, just because of the quarterback. You know, it was nice for a night for Cleveland, last week, but no. Even though it's in Cleveland, I gotta pick Pittsburgh.
oh god, this game is gross too. I'm gonna go Browns. I don't like either of these teams, to be honest with you. But Case Keenum for the victory. Now I screwed myself up here. Hang on. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. All right. Screwing around. Philly at Detroit.
Can the Lions get a win? No, they won't get a win until they play the Cardinals. So Philly.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I'm going Philly as well. Because the Lions suck and will never get a win.
That was a chance for Jared Goff to really stick it to the Rams. You want to get rid of me? I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you, you should have stuck with me, blah, 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 blah. And he kind of did the exact opposite. He proved why they needed to get rid of him.
Agreed.
Really
and
bad.
their point is getting proven every day.
Yes. So, both taking the Eagles. Next.
Tennessee at Indy.
This is now shaped up into a good game. The Colts kind of staggered out of the gates. They've kind of righted the ship. Tough to tell. I mean, I think last night, so many turnovers, but that's because they were playing in the atmospheric river on the field.
Yeah.
So I think this will be a cleaner game and a good game. Boy. This should be a really good game. I guess I gotta lean Tennessee because they've just been on fire. And though I guess Indy. Luckily, Carson Wentz doesn't have to see the field at the same time as Derrick Henry, or else he would get broken to pieces. But Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm going Tennessee, and the reason why is the Colts have 3 wins on the year, and they're against the Dolphins, the Texans, and the 49ers. So, yeah, they suck. Cincy at New York Jets. I will never pick a Jets team to win a game ever, so by default, we go Cincy.
Yeah, I have to go Cincy here, too.
You sure?
Yes, because I can't... That would be a huge letdown. I mean, again, it would prove the point that this year is just crazy up and down for every other team. If the Jets go from getting blown out by a Patriots team that doesn't have the talent that the Bengals have, the Bengals should theoretically be able to put up 60 points in this game. You'd expect.
Mm-hmm.
It'll come down to coaching, right? This is a week that's on the coaching staff for the Bengals. Is the team focused? Do they prepare well, or do they just think they're going to show up? We're playing the Jets, and you get caught like the Tennessee Titans in an overtime game, and you lose on a stupid missed field goal. So, we're both taking the Bengals. Next.
The Bengals. The Rams at Houston Rams.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad teams in the NFL.
Do you think though? I mean, what if Tua is playing for the Rams? For the Texans.
Yeah, Rams.
What do you
the
think
only way
about
that changes is Deshaun Watson.
Well, that doesn't. A quick second on that thing. I mean, the reports there's momentum growing for a Deshaun Watson trade, which I think if it happens, instantly the league's like, oh, you know what? Commissioner's exempt list for you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked to see that happen, but does that change anything? I mean, obviously the Dolphins become a better team, but they're too far in the hole now, I think, to really have that make any sort of difference for this year, right?
Yeah. I mean, until anything happens with Watson, I just don't know how to believe a report. Even if he gets traded, I don't even know if he's going to play.
According to this source, he's open to other destinations, potentially the Carolina Panthers.
Would you trade Max Jones for Deshaun Watson if he was guaranteed to play?
If Deshaun Watson was guaranteed to play, I guess if he's guaranteed to play, that would mean that he is innocent of the litany of charges that are being brought against him. So I would say yes, I would trade Mac Jones for Deshaun Watson. I also just think there's way too much smoke there, and I also don't think that he's going to be allowed to play.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah.
So
yeah, it's theoretical.
You know, it's the talent 100%. On the field, that guy 100%. I would take him over Mac Jones. So I ain't stupid. I'm reckless, but I'm not stupid.
All right. New England at Chargers.
I'll let you go first.
I'm going Chargers.
Yeah, you have a man crush on Justin Herbert. That's why.
Yeah, I like the Chargers. I mean, I told you this story many times. I love the Chargers. Those jerseys as a kid, they caught me.
Yeah, you're in the blue. You're almost in a powder blue right now.
But also, let's not forget the Patriots are a mediocre football team, and I think the Chargers have more talent, and I think they will be able to move the ball in this game, unlike the Jets and Mike Wilson. What the hell's his name? Mike, whatever. Everyone's favorite Madden player. They're going to be able to move the ball in this game. It's not going to be like the first time Belichick got him.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, last year people thought they were the better team, and the Patriots with Cam Newton went in there and steamrolled them. By the end of the game, Jarrett Stidham was throwing touchdown dimes to Gunnar Olszewski. Has enough changed for the Chargers in your mind for that not to be the case this time around?
Yes. Go ahead, pick the Patriots. Go ahead.
I'm picking them. Only because I just think the things that the Patriots do well are the weaknesses for the Chargers. I mean, they're going to be able to run the ball again. And this time, you're not playing the Jets, so you're not going to just be, throwing it just to throw it because you want to try and run up the score. This is going to be a close, competitive game. It's going to come down to a handful of plays, and this kind of makes or breaks the Patriots' season now. I mean, you have to string together some wins here, and you have to beat good teams. The Chargers are a good team. They're better than average, so you need to execute in those critical situations. If they don't, then we can probably fully say that this Patriots team is headed towards a 6-7 win season. If they can't win a game like this, especially the way they played yesterday. So out of the necessity of wanting to see them have a season and have games mean something, I'm picking them to win, and I also think they can win. I mean, they've hung in all these games. The games they lost, they were right there with the Cowboys and the Bucks. So I definitely think they can hang with the Chargers. Can the defense get any stops? Hey, that's gonna
Unless
be
they,
that's gonna be the roller coaster ride.
that's the key to the game. If they force Herbert to make mistakes, they have a shot. Otherwise, I think he should go for at least 300 yards.
Yeah. So I'm picking them.
There's some big holes in this defense, and they have some weapons over there.
Yeah, and I think maybe yesterday, if it's an indication that they're gonna be willing to open up the offense and put more on the offense. Again, it's like I said, they're gonna have to score 30 points to beat the Cowboys. They're capable of it. You're going to have your best offensive performance. They scored 29 against Dallas, and you lost. And with the Cowboys being stupid at times. Are the Chargers capable of being stupid? Mm-hmm. Yup. Are the Chargers capable of being stupid and still scoring 30 points? Mm-hmm. Yup. So the Patriots are going to have to score in the 30s to win this game. And I think if you can hang 54 on the Jets, you can find a way to score 30 points against the Chargers. I hope. I
think Chargers are a step up from Dallas. So
if
in terms of defensively.
If not, it's going to be a long, cold season if you can't figure out a way to do anything against the Chargers. And like I said, you're going to have to start enjoying those blowouts against bad teams because the dark times are coming.
Yeah, you're going to have to get into 25 to 35 range in this game. That would be my guess.
So, next.
Did you take the Patriots? Is that what you?
I did, 100%.
100%.
Locked in.
Jacksonville at Seattle.
Boy. Let's see. How's Seattle doing right now?
They're up 7-0.
They are up 7-zip. I think in Seattle against Jacksonville, no matter what happens tonight, they should still find a way to win. So, no confidence at all to pick Jacksonville, whose one win this year is literally because of another team's utter ineptitude. So,
yeah, I'm with you there. Seattle all the way.
Next.
Washington at Denver.
Oof. Home team, just because I don't really know what to think of either of these teams. So I'm going to go with the home team.
Tampa at the team that beat you, the New Orleans Saints.
I'm going to assume you're picking Denver. I didn't hear you there. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll pick it. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm picking Denver. Completely forgot.
It's a snooze fest of a game, and it put Christian to sleep.
Yeah, it might have for a minute there with my eyes open.
Tampa at New Orleans.
Tampa at New Orleans.
Yeah. This is another obvious one. It is nigh impossible to pick against the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Saints don't have the defense.
Saints are horrid. Offensively and defensively. Good job, Patriots. Way to lose that one. Tampa Bay, easy. Dallas at Minnesota.
Sneaky tough game for the old Cowboys. Is this the night game?
Yes, it is Sunday night.
Oof. I'm going with the upset. I'm going to go Minnesota only because I think Dallas they have so much talent. They can have a bad game and they can play stupid and make up for it. I mean, they were set up for the trap game there against the Patriots. And they find a way to still win, even when they really tried to give that game away early on.
Yeah.
They were clearly reading their own clippings, and so I think they've been sitting, stewing, hearing how great they are on the road. Minnesota, are they great? No. Are they horrid? No. They've got a quarterback that can at least do some things that it could move the ball and help them win a game. This is the little stumble here for Dallas. Bring them back to earth a little bit. So. Minnesota.
I'm going Dallas. Until somebody proves they can stop them, can't pick against them.
Monday night.
You probably got the best quarterback in football in Dallas. So
that's true. I mean, is he?
Yeah.
I mean, he's him. Him and Kyler are headed towards an MVP race. I think.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. Yeah. All right. Monday night. Oof. This is a steaming pile of cow manure. The Giants at the Chiefs.
Yikes. I know what I want to pick.
Yeah, I want you to go first on this one.
I know what I want to pick because it would be great. I just can't do it. I mean, unless... See, this is what's tough. We have no idea. I mean, is Mahomes going to play? There's no indication, right? I mean, one way or another.
Yeah.
You know what? Screw it. Giants. Chiefs Kingdom is crumbling. Chaos.
This is a tougher pick than it should be this year.
I'm only picking the Giants because I don't want to pick the Chiefs and then Mahomes doesn't play. So
I know.
I might as well just pick the Giants. Pick them with me, Christian. Pick them with me.
All right, I'm going.
Do it.
All right, yeah, you got me. I'm going Chiefs.
This will be fun. This game will be happening live during the show next week. That'll be perfect. So, Colin in the comment section, he's been picking along with us. But this just in, Marcus Smart is 0 of 6 from 3-point land, and the Celtics are down 5 points with 7:41 to go. 107-102. My God, I mean, if I'm gonna be angry about one thing,
108, 102 now.
it's the defense for the Celtics here early on. No excuse.
Or lack thereof. Is that
lack thereof? So that is worth keeping the eye on.
MVP. Don't forget the MVP chant.
Who's that for? Is that for Dak? Is that for me?
No, that's for Marcus Smart.
Most valuable Pizzelli?
No, I don't know about that one. Not after picking the Giants.
Agent of Chaos. I got to root for the chaos. Always got to root for the chaos. So that is just about going to do it. We will check the old mailbag here for our email listeners. I guess we can call them that. But our podcast listeners like to send in the emails. Let's just check here. I don't think we have anything from the past week. And there is not. But if you're one of our podcast listeners, thank you for finding us there on Sounder FM or wherever you happen to get your podcast from. And if you want to join in the action here, you can email the360sportsshow@gmail.com and you can reach us. Colin says, imagine if you had a starter that had just hit 2 of those. Yeah. So
Tatum's got 34. You're still down 8 though. So
yeah. Jalen came back. Again, this is the thing, though. It's like their lineup in and out. I mean, Jaylen Brown, 25 minutes, 19 points. Parker is still stuck on 13 points. He probably hasn't played in the second half, only 17 minutes. He played like 15 in the first half. Peyton Pritchard, meh. Josh Richardson, no points. I would expect more out of him.
2 shots.
Was expecting a lot more out of him. But hey, again, this is one of those things. If they decide that they've seen enough of Marcus Smart, maybe Josh Richardson kind of has more of a role and fits better, and Schroeder's your point guard, and hey, maybe that unlocks some defense.
Have him shoot the ball.
Yeah.
He's 0 of 2. Like, what? I'd rather have him take the shot than Smart, or I guess Pritchard is good at shooting, but take your pick. I don't know.
Yeah. So we shall see. So that is going to do it for us here tonight, folks. Thank you for joining along with us here on the live stream. We are live every Monday starting at 7:30 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And you can also hear us as a podcast through Sounder FM or wherever you get your podcasts from. So for Christian Lauber, I'm Andrew Pizzelli. Have a good night, everybody.
See ya.